The Wechsler Individual Achievement Test 4. Not knowing a lot about the different tests, I asked the head of my special education department which test I should review. He recommended the Wiat 4. My department primarily uses the Woodcock-Johnson test of achievement. I spoke to a co-worker who is the primary user of the Wiat 4. She told me it is widely used in the other schools within our tri-district. The Wiat 4 can be administered either digitally on an iPad or on paper. Version 4 is a major update from version 3. In fact, Bujan and Parkin stated in their evaluation of the test that it is best to think of the Wiat 4 as a brand new instrument rather than an update of a previously existing one. It uses a new norming sample, added 5 new subtests and deleted one subtest, revised some of its test questions, and scores are based on psychological theory. It was published in the fall of 2020, and according to my coworker, this achievement test has the most recent update. This test is for ages 4 through 50 years old. It's a norm reference test. The length of the test varies based on how many subtests are given and the grade level of the examinee. If all subtests for appropriate grades were administered, preschool would take about 45 minutes to complete, while high school students and older would take a little more than 2 hours. It provides an analysis of academic achievement, supports diagnoses of specific learning disabilities, academic program placement, intervention planning, and dyslexia screening and evaluation. The purpose of the test is to determine the level of academic knowledge and skills a student has. This is done through testing their ability in the use of phonological awareness and decoding skills to read words, their reading comprehension, knowledge of numerical operations, and math reasoning, their ability to spell and use written expression, their listening comprehension, and oral expression. The Wiat 4 is designed to test skills in language, reading, mathematics, and writing through the administration of subtests. All subtests are for everyone unless otherwise specified. This section will break down each area and discuss the subtests. The listening comprehension subtest measures the examinee's comprehension at the word, sentence, and passage level. It has 2 parts. Receptive vocabulary is tested by the examinee selecting the picture that best shows the meaning of the words spoken by the examiner. Oral discourse comprehension is tested by the examinee listening to a passage presented by an audio recording. The examinee then responds to comprehension questions asked by the examiner. Oral expression is measured at the word and sentence level. It has 3 parts. Expressive vocabulary is tested by the examinee being shown a picture and hearing a definition. The examinee then says the word that best corresponds to the picture and definition. Oral word fluency is tested by having the examinee being given a category and naming as many things as possible in that category within 60 seconds. Sentence repetition is tested by having the examinee listen to a sentence and then repeat it exactly. The length and complexity of the sentences will increase. Phonemic proficiency is a new subtest. It measures speed and accuracy of phoneme manipulation. Examinees respond orally. They are required to delete, substitute, or reverse sounds. Scoring is based on speed and accuracy. Orthographic choice is also a new subtest available on the iPad program Q Interactive only. It is for those in grade 1 or higher. It measures recognition of spelling skills. The examinee is given 3 choices of letter strings that sound alike, and they choose the one that is spelled correctly. Word reading measures the examinee's knowledge of letters, letter sounds, and ability to read single words. In Part 1, examinees identify letters and match the sounds to the letters. In Part 2, examinees orally read a list of regular and irregular words. Pseudo-word decoding is for first grade and older. It measures phonic decoding skills through having examinees read a list of pseudo-words aloud. The reading comprehension test is for grades kindergarten and up. It measures reading comprehension at the word level by having examinees match a picture with a word. At the sentence level, examinees read a sentence and respond to a question at the literal level. The passage level requires examinees to read narrative and expository passages. They respond to both literal and inferential questions. The oral reading fluency is for first grade and higher. The examinee reads 2 passages aloud. The readings are timed and the test is scored based on the number of errors and time elapsed. Examinees are asked a comprehension question after each reading to encourage reading for comprehension. However, their answers are not part of the score. Orthographic fluency is another new subtest. It is for examinees in first grade or higher and measures sight vocabulary through having examinees read aloud a list of irregular words as quickly as possible during 2 time trials. Decoding fluency is a new subtest for third grade and older. It tests phonic decoding fluency by having the examinee read aloud a list of pseudo words as quickly as possible in two-time trials. Math problem solving measures skills in the basic concepts, everyday applications, geometry, and algebra domains. This is accomplished by having examinees point to pictures or respond orally to real-life applications of mathematical principles. Numerical operations is for grades kindergarten and higher. The subtest measures the examinee's math calculation skills. Early problems have examinees respond orally to questions on number concepts and counting. Later problems have examinees write answers to questions ranging from basic operations with integers to geometry, algebra, and calculus. There are 3 math fluency subtests. The examinee completes as many written problems for the operation as possible within 60 seconds. The addition math fluency is for first grade and higher. The subtraction math fluency is for first grade and older. The multiplication math fluency is for third grade and higher. Spelling is for grades kindergarten and higher. It measures written spelling skills. Initial items in the test involve writing letters that represent sounds. Later items involve writing words that are dictated within the context of a sentence. The sentence composition subtest is for first grade and older. It measures the examinee's ability to form sentences that use proper semantics, grammar, capitalization, and internal and ending punctuation. It includes 2 components. The sentence building component has the examinee write a sentence with a target word. Sentence combining has examinees combine items from 2 or 3 sentences into one sentence. Essay composition subtest is for grades 3 and higher. It measures spontaneous writing fluency through writing a descriptive expository essay in 10 minutes. The subtest is scored on semantics, grammar, mechanics, content, and organization. The alphabet writing fluency is for grades preschool through 4th grade. It measures how fluently the examinee can write letters by giving them 60 seconds to write as many letters of the alphabet as they can. Sentence writing fluency is a new subtest for first grade and older. The test measures sentence composition fluency. Examinees are given 5 minutes to write as many items as possible. An item is a sentence with a target word. It's scored based on the number of words written, the use of the target word, and subject-verb agreement. The Wiat 4 can be scored digitally, by hand, or by a combination of either. Scoring has been simplified compared to the Wiat 3. After scoring, the examiner can use the subtest scores to derive up to 14 composite scores. Each composite score must have a minimum of 2 subtest scores. Digital scoring of the Wiat 4 can be completed by using Q Global, which is their web-based program. The iPad program, Q Interactive, will also score the test. To compare digital versus hand scoring, we'll explore the scoring of the essay composition. The examiner can score it digitally using the Intelligent Essay Assessor, also called the IEA. To do so, the examinee will handwrite the essay. Then, the examiner will type the essay into the IEA exactly as it was written. Once submitted, the IEA will score the essay and return the results. Digital scoring provides some features not found for hand scoring. For instance, digital scoring will also provide a pattern of strengths and weaknesses discrepancy, which can be used for identifying specific learning disabilities, but is not required in Connecticut. Another feature of digital scoring is that teaching goals, objectives, and intervention statements will be provided based on error analysis results. When hand scoring, the examiner can use the Wiat 4 record form and the Wiat 4 scoring manual. Error analysis worksheets are provided for word reading, pseudo-word decoding, math problem solving, numerical operations, and spelling subtests. Error analysis record forms are provided for phonemic proficiency, oral discourse comprehension section of the listening comprehension, reading comprehension, essay composition, and sentence composition subtests. The hand scoring of the essay composition requires the examiner to count the number of correct word sequences and subtract the number of incorrect word sequences from it. This will give the examiner the total raw score. To learn more about this, refer to the Wiat 4 scoring manual. The Wiat 4 has made it easier to hand score subtests compared to previous versions. The essay composition measures only 2 categories instead of 6. Sentence composition is easier to score now. The examiner will assign each item either a 1 or a 0 instead of the old version of 2, 1, 0. As the sentence building template shows, the examiner counts the ones to find the raw score for each category. The four core composite scores are total achievement, writing, mathematics, and reading. The total achievement is the overall score for writing, math, and reading scores. Then the composite scores are broken into three smaller core scores for writing, math, and reading. This provides the examiner a sense of their overall knowledge and where their larger areas of strengths and weaknesses are. Listed under each core composite category is a subtest that contribute to that score. There are 10 supplemental composite scores to help the examiner identify where the examinee is struggling the most and needs the greatest support. Each supplemental composite is listed with a subtest that contribute to the score. Basic reading composite, decoding composite, reading fluency composite, math fluency composite, writing fluency composite, and oral language composite. Phonological processing composite, orthographic processing composite, orthographic processing extended composite. The Dyslexia Index composite identifies the risk for someone to have dyslexia. This score does not identify dyslexia. There are two subtests for grades preschool through 3 and 3 subtests for grades 4 and higher. The norms for the Wiat-4 are based on national standardized sample. The age-based and grade-based norms were developed from this sample. The sample was also administered the Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children 5th edition, the Kaufman Test of Educational Achievement 3rd edition, and the Kaufman Assessment Battery for Children 2nd edition. The test has been extensively reviewed for biases related to gender, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds. It also measures the 8 specific learning disability areas specified in IDEA and the areas specified in the DSM-5. Overall, the Wiat-4 will take approximately 2 hours at most to administer. It can be administered either digitally or on paper depending on the comfort level of the examiner and examinee. Scoring has been simplified compared to the previous version. The resulting composite scores show a pattern of strengths and weaknesses based on the examinee's overall knowledge and smaller skills that help make up the knowledge base. The Wiat-4 is based on measures identified by IDEA and the DSM-5. As I learned more about this test, I felt more confident that it is a quality test to administer. It is easy to administer and provides digital and manual assistance for scoring. The technical adequacy shows it to be trustworthy. As I spoke to a coworker of mine last week, she said something that made me realize that comparing this test in a vacuum isn't fair. She told me that the Wiat test tends to score students lower than the Woodcock-Johnson. I do not know if she's comparing to the 3rd edition of Wiat or the 4th, but it made me realize that the test you choose also plays a factor in the identification of students with special needs.